Today we're going to take you through the process of repairing and replacing washers on a very old set of bathroom faucets. These are the faucets that we will be replacing the washers in. As you can see, they are old. They're probably brass. There's screw caps on the top, and we'll show you the step-by-step method of fixing them. And they do leak. You can see the cold water leaking out of that faucet. So we're going to take a shot at this and see if we can fix it. Here are some of the tools that we're going to need to fix this, potentially. Straight screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, I got a couple different sizes, an adjustable wrench, a pipe wrench, and a little wire brush. I also had a can of what they call liquid wrench. WD-40 would work as well. It's a penetrating oil to help loosen up some of the threads on the screws holding the faucets. Now, as you can see here, I have an assortment of neoprene rubber washers. The reason I did this was because I wasn't sure what kind of a washer we have on the inside, so I went to the local hardware store and picked up an assortment of washers. It's always a handy thing to have some of these on hand if you're living in and around old houses or you think you might be doing this kind of work. Okay, this is some of the stuff that we're dealing with, and as you can see, we are dealing with old plumbing. This is a very old house, and you can see the rock walls, so it kind of gives you an idea of what we're in for. I did a little bit of preliminary work last night just so I wouldn't be frustrated when I start my project today. Some of that work was I put some liquid wrench penetrating oil on the faucets upstairs, and to help loosen them up so it'll make the job a little easier to get started. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to turn off the water supply. Okay, you're looking at two valves here. The one with the black handle turns off the cold water to both the toilet and to the faucet that we're going to be working on. The red valve handle that you see to the left turns the cold water off that goes to the toilet. If you see above to the right, there is another handle up there, and that particular handle turns off the hot water to the upstairs of the house, but not including this particular faucet. So what we're going to have to do is shut the main water supply to the whole house just to get that hot water faucet fixed. Okay, up here on the left you can see what's called a ball valve, that blue handle. When it's going straight with the pipe, as it is up here, that means the water is on. When you pull it down and it's a 90-degree perpendicular to the pipe, that means the water supply is cut off. So I'm going to have to put the camera down and go do this. Okay, this is what it looks like with the water completely off. I also had another ball valve that came off of the hot water tank, and I did the same thing with that to make sure that we don't have any pressure going to the upstairs faucet. Step one is something that I started last night preliminarily, but what I did was I took my adjustable wrench and I loosened this top nut here, and then I put the penetrating oil on so it would come off easier. And as you can see, that worked pretty good. There's that right there. Now you just lift off the handle with any luck. And I did the same thing with the hot water. Now this next part is not something that I did do, and that was to loosen this other nut here on the faucet. Now to do this, I'm holding the faucet arm or a spout real tight and pushing against it as I loosen this nut. I've loosened it already, so you can see it's turning pretty easy now, but it did not at first. So now I can unscrew it Okay, and place that with Teflon tape, and I will clean all these threads off with my wire brush right here. That way when I put it back together it'll have a nice clean joint. And I'll clean the inside of this down in my cellar with other tools. Now to get at the actual valve, which is on the end of this stem here, I'm going to have to take this section off of the faucet as well. It's designed so that you can put a pipe wrench on it and loosen it up, and I'll have to be very careful not to break anything here. So I'll do that and then I'll be right back. Here we are. I've loosened this up with a pipe wrench. As you can see, this nut now turns freely. So I'm going to unscrew this. It comes up off the top. Then I take my adjustable wrench, and on the top of this valve you can see that it's square. So I just loosen that up, and then you can see down here that the whole valve assembly comes apart. And if you look down on the inside, you can see where there's a hole there, so the water comes up and out the spout, so you don't have to do anything else with any of these other parts. Okay, now I don't know if you can see it very well here or not. I'm going to move the camera, but on the end of the screw valve, on the end of the valve is a screw, and there's a rubber washer that fits with this, and it screws down on the inside. So we got to get that screw out to replace this rubber washer. That is what's making this all leak. Okay, here is the valve, and on the end of that valve, I'm hoping that you can see it, is the screw. Now I loosened that up for sake of the video, and you have to be careful. You just hold on to it, unscrew the little screw right there. You pop the washer out of the little socket, and here you have an empty socket for that new washer to go into. In this case, we're going to take one of these gray ones, go put it right in there, and as we squeeze it tight, it will squeeze down and seal against the inside of this little casing that it sets in. Okay, I've also found in taking this thing apart that wherever there's threads, there's some sort of stuff. In this case here, you can kind of tell how old these faucets are because they use some kind of a cord to act as a leak preventer product on the threads. So I'm kind of going to get rid of that, and I'm going to replace that with Teflon tape, which I think will work just fine. Okay, now that I've cleaned up the whole valve thing, I used my little wire brush to get rid of the rust. I put the little rubber washer right back in place, and then I take my screw and screw it right down into it. I sprayed a little WD-40 on the threads to kind of help me go in a little smoother. And then I take my screwdriver and tighten that up. Typically, I like to replace these screws with a different one. I went and checked down cellar and I did not have one. So now we're good to go, and I cleaned up all these threads here. So now we're ready almost for the reassembly, except I'm going to take some Teflon tape and put it right along the bottom of this particular valve here where they had their stringy stuff, which is kind of like a very small oakum. And I'll wrap some of that Teflon tape around it, that'll help. Okay, as you look at this now, I've got the Teflon tape wrapped around the bottom. I'm going to also put plenty around the thread, so when I screw it in, it will create a seal. Okay, you can see I've wrapped it around 3 or 4 times. These are pretty thick threads, so I want to really make sure it's on good. and now you can see that whole bottom of the shaft is covered up and sealed. So now I'll go put this back into the faucet. Okay, we're going to screw this back into the faucet, and just do in the reverse order of what happened, the very same thing that we just did. So I got that hand tightened. Now I take my adjustable wrench, snug that up. Okay, I think we're good there. Then we'll put this back in. I'm going to clean it, and then I will put some Teflon tape on there. So I'll get my wire brush and go clean the threads. Okay, now I'll take my Teflon tape. I've got a piece about 12 inches long or so. Put that right on like so, and go right around it, pulling it as I go, so that it goes right into the grooves of the threads. And I use that up like that. That should do it. Then kind of tighten that up. Then I take my cover, clean those threads out, blow on it, get rid of the dust, put it right on through, and tighten that baby up. Okay, now I'll tighten that nut up. That's on finger tight. I guess it was on a little tighter than I thought. So now I'll be able to just take a sheetrock knife, or a utility knife as they're called, I guess, and cut right down along the edge and peel some of that white off so it's not visible. But now the valve is in there tight. This nut is holding it on tight. I've cleaned these threads up. So now I have to get my other nut here that we had taken off. I've got to clean this all out. I'll put that back in place, and I'll be right back. Okay, what I've done now is I've cleaned the insides of my threads. I've cleaned these threads. I'm putting this cap back on. Gonna tighten that up. I put Teflon tape on there for the seal again. And with this one, we use this wrench here. Adjust it to the space we need. I hold my stem, my valve here, so that it doesn't turn the whole faucet underneath. And I just start tightening. You don't need to over tighten, you just tighten it till it's snug. I think we get it there. And now, our last step, put the handle back on. Put our screw back in place. Again, having put WD-40 or liquid wrench on it to soften up the threads and loosen up that rust that accumulates, that makes it work a lot easier. Then you just tighten up the little nut. Okay, now we're going to go down and turn on the water and see if that works. With any luck, it will. I turn my cold water and hot water back on just to see. So now we're going to turn this. And hey, look at that, we have water. What I want to just emphasize is that you can do this yourself. You don't need to hire a plumber just to fix a leaking faucet. Okay, thank you for watching, and please tell your friends if anybody is interested in learning how to fix an old-time faucet. Have them tune into the video. Thank you very much.